From Bakersfield to the corners of Kern County, the best moments from your Golden Empire gridirons. 17 Sports Director Taylor Shaw, football analyst, Renegade head coach R. Todd Littlejohn. This is FFX, the Sunday Expanded Edition. Driven by Sangera Subaru and Dignity Health, Mercy and Memorial Hospitals.
Welcome to the big show. I'm Taylor Schaub. He's R. Todd Littlejohn, and I know what I'm thankful for this year. Having the band back together, Coach. It's semifinal week. We had 5 teams enter Friday night. 3 remain, and man, it was some good football.
Yes, it was, and you know how playoff time is.
All right, you look fitted, so what's it time for?
It's time to give the people what they want.
Gather round. It's time for your FFX Game of the Week, powered by SCOE, your Southern California Orthopedic Institute.
They had to do what they had to do, and I understand that. But you know, I really thought we had the momentum at that moment. You know, it's hard on our kids to understand that. It is what it is, and you know, we're gonna face adversity in the course of this season. So that's a little bit of adversity, and how we respond is going to define our character.
That was brutal. That's a bad way to end the game, and nothing that they can do about it, as he mentioned. But they could have at least delayed it a little bit longer and allow those young men to play and finish the game.
So dramatic. making an open like that for a game. But if any game was worth it, Coach, it's our FFX Game of the Week, the rematch we were all waiting for. After Mother Nature stopped Liberty's comeback bid short in preseason play, the Pats got a chance to exact their revenge on Buchanan. These two teams, they'd faced off 5 times in the past 3 full seasons, including Liberty's victory in this very game last fall. Early on, Cole O'Brien gets picked off. He was aiming for Maya Harrison, but it got snagged. So it's 7-0 Buchanan. But O'Brien makes up for it, Coach.
Yes, he does. And obviously, these two teams don't like each other, so it was going to be a back and forth scoring affair.
Well, he hit Krayshawn Kizzy, but then Cannon Campbell escapes some trouble, finds the end zone. So it's 13-7 Bears. But O'Brien, again, this time he hits the X-Man Xander Chisholm, who's been so good for Liberty.
Absolutely he has. And this was a time that you need to find all of your weapons, and obviously Liberty did.
O'Brien had 4 touchdowns in this game. He was a force in the air and on the ground, plowing his way into the end zone. How good was Cole O'Brien? Didn't play in the first game, but he wins them the second one, the rematch against Buchanan, Coach.
He was very good, and they didn't have any film on him, so he became the X Factor. It was a great job by him.
Let's look at O'Brien's final stat line in this one. The quarterback for the Liberty Patriots was 12 of 20, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and Brian Nixon's playing in another Valley Championship.
I think they had motivation, but I also think they understood where this game means and the magnitude of this game to be able to go play on a Valley Championship and practice on Thanksgiving Day.
All right, so who's Liberty going to play? That's the question, and 17's Chris Burton has the answer with a little opposition research.
Well, Taylor, Liberty is the 3 seed, so we'll head to Clovis to find out whether the Pats will host or travel next Friday. It was the top-ranked Golden Eagles hosting San Joaquin Memorial in the other D1 semifinal. It's the first quarter. Brandon Ramirez goes off the right for a 12-yard touchdown, 7-0 Memorial. We go to the second quarter. The Golden Eagles had an answer. Aiden Fortenberry with a 6-yard touchdown of his own, but it would be Memorial putting the final touch on this one. 30-20, San Joaquin is moving on. And the Panthers' upset plays right into the Pats' hands after winning the D1 crown on the road last fall. Liberty has a chance to defend their title in friendly confines of Southwest Bakersfield. Kickoff slated for 7 p.m. in your Valley title game.
Well, thanks, Chris. And D2 play, Frontier has been the surprise, taking down number 2 Kingsburg last week. And this week, Malachi Statler and the rest of the Titans had their work cut out for them. Lemoore took down their round 2 opponent in a 64-8 beatdown. And the offensive onslaught would continue. Coach Lemoore, so good, driving downfield, and then it's Ty Chambers to Demel Turner there.
Boy, those two have been a great combination all year long, and obviously they needed it versus Frontier.
Andrew Monech up the middle, punches his way through, and then it's Malachi Statler finding Devin Cochran in the end zone. How many times have we said Devin Cochran's name of late, Coach?
We've said that those two names actually all year, but those guys did a great job, at this point. And what a dime he just dropped right there as well.
Malachi Statler, a beast, finds his main man, Mason Tapia. So Frontier trying to mount a bit of a comeback. He finds Cochran again in the end zone.
Sweet catch,
Yes,
too.
it was. Unfortunately, though, Lamore just couldn't be stopped. They dropped 64 one week, they dropped 56 the next. And that Frontier offense, we showed you all their touchdowns. Unfortunately, they stopped at half. 56-21, your final.
Just proud of our season. We had a lot of adversity, and our kids just battled all through it all year long. I'm really proud of them.
To D3 play, Coach, whereas a 4 seed, the Kennedy Thunderbirds have enjoyed the comfortable confines of RFK. Well, that was until Friday. T-Birds taking the long flight to the coast. Date with top-ranked Mission Prep. First quarter, Mission Prep on the move. That's Cole Tanner finding the lane and finding the promised land. 7-0 Royals. But then it would be Gamiz Helm forcing his way into the end zone. We've said his name a lot. Through a sea of humanity there, Helm evens it up. But look at that snag.
What a nice one-handed catch right there, baby.
You know when I see that reaction out of you, that was a great play. But you know who's a great player for the Kennedy Thunderbirds? Helm, forcing his way back into the end zone. And Kennedy's offense would erupt from there, Coach. How good have these Thunderbirds been?
They've been really, really good, very efficient as well, being able to run the ball and then mix in a couple passes here. Man, I tell you, they were on all cylinders versus Mission Prep.
The 2-hour bus ride, worth it, 27-14, your final. Let's take a look at Helm's final stat line. You see it there, he can go up in the air, he can defeat you on the ground. He's a beast. 21 carries, 125 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, not to mention what he does receiving. What makes this guy so special, Coach?
Well, playoff time obviously is what makes him special, but those guys, they're on a mission. I know that they've been on a mission really since earlier in the year.
One of the unspoken goals we have every year is to be able to practice on Thanksgiving. It's big for the community, it's big for our kids, it's a big family event. And so we always talk about that in the background, right? What do we got to do to practice on Thanksgiving? Because if we're practicing on Thanksgiving, we're either in the semis or we're in the finals, right?
All right, now 17's Chris Burton tells us who they're going to play.
Well, Taylor, they had a chance to play Kern's other D3 team, but the Falcons didn't have as enjoyable of a bus ride back. 15-seed Independence in Fresno Friday, looking for their 3rd straight upset. Sunnyside, an 11 seed. So on paper, stars were starting to align for Tyler Schilhaubel's Falcons, but the game isn't played on paper. Tanner Wilson airing it out to Malachi Barnes there for an absolute bomb, and Sunnyside up 16. Game out of reach by the start of the second half, but it's Barnes again. One final nail in the Falcons' coffin. He takes it all the way to the end zone, and this one was all Sunnyside, 38-23 the final. Sunnyside's double-digit victory sets up an 11-4 section title matchup. The Thunderbirds will host as Kennedy tries to hoist their 4th Valley Championship trophy in program history. Coach Taylor, back to you.
Well, thanks, Christopher. Still ahead on FFX. Shafters already beat the 1 seed and now a trip to the section championship. How the Generals are marching to the beat of their own drum. That's in 2 minutes. Plus, is Kennedy quickly becoming a mini dynasty? A look back at the T-Birds' stellar run, and their leader joins us in Coach's Corner.
You're watching FFX, the Sunday Expanded Edition, powered by Sangera Subaru, serving Kern County for over 50 years. You're watching FFX, the Sunday Expanded Edition, powered by Dignity Health. Hello, human kindness.
Welcome back. We're heading over to D4. The Generals riding high after taking down top-seeded Liberty out of Madera. But the question is, does Ezekiel Osborne, the young freshman quarterback, have any more magic left in him? Well, it was a packed house in Madera. We're going to go to the second half. Shafters, Christopher Espinoza, barreling his way from 5 yards out. He gets in, so it's 21-7 Generals. But the Toros storming back. Jose Salarama.
Nice catch right
Yeah,
there, too.
I know, right? The Toros pretty good in this game. This thing would go back and forth, actually headed to overtime. But in the end, it was the Shafter Generals, Ezekiel Osborne, his main man, Jesus Figueroa, edging out the Toros, 42-41, as the Generals are riding on. Ezekiel Osborne, you can see his stat line there. Terrific in this game. Can a freshman win a Valley title? We'll find out who they're playing next.
Well, Taylor, coach, just like in Madera, Coalinga and Carruthers fought to the final snap. Generals facing the winners of this one, Coalinga and Carruthers. The third quarter, Coalinga's Gustavo Alvarado calls it up, and Carruthers' Lorenzo Takata scoops it up. That drive would stall, though, after the Blue Raiders quarterback Colin Hirschhorn gets sacked by Dominic Catuzzo. Score would remain tied at 7-7, neck and neck in this one. Coalinga finally getting something going. Noah Tassi looks deep, connects with Dylan Teixeira for the long bomb, 14-7. And after Carruthers' punt, Tassi again, this time with the keeper, 21-7 Horned Toads. But that surprisingly wasn't enough. Carruthers would come back and win this one, another one-point game, 22-21.
Well, thanks, Chris. It's rather fitting that Shafter will be playing this section title game on the road. Prior to this year, construction on the Generals' new state-of-the-art stadium forced Shafter to spend 2 full seasons traveling. So don't be surprised to see a General invasion over at Carruthers. So Shafter will be playing up north, and I got an expert from the Fresno area to talk about the D1 matchup. Here's Andrew Martin from our sister station in Fresno.
Andrew, thank you so much. We worked together all season long on high school football, so it's great to talk about these section championship games and specifically Memorial at Liberty. I know you've been following the Panthers all year long. What is the toughest challenge that Liberty's going to face when Memorial comes to town?
Yeah, good to talk with you, Taylor. Well, they're going to have to stop number 8. That's Brandon Ramirez. He's a two-way player, running back and safety, already committed to Fresno State. In the quarterfinal game against Central, Memorial only passed the ball 1 time. They handed it off 30 times to Brandon Ramirez. He rushed for over 340 yards. And so I'm well aware that Liberty is well aware of Brandon Ramirez. He's going to be the key to potentially winning a section championship. The Patriots are going to have to stop him.
Where do you think this Liberty team compares to some of the best teams that you've seen in the Central Valley over, let's say, the last, half dozen years?
Well, this Liberty team is pretty resilient, Taylor. And, I was really excited to see that semifinal game against Buchanan. Again, those teams meeting in the semifinal round of the playoffs in Division I. You go back to the game earlier in the regular season when Liberty and Buchanan met in Bakersfield. And, look, I'm a purist. I'm a realist. I understand that you got high school kids. There was a lightning delay, but they should have found a way to finish that game in the regular season. Just handing Buchanan the victory with 10-plus minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I was not a huge fan of that. You know that Liberty was obviously looking forward to a potential rematch, and to get that victory inside Buchanan Stadium was a huge, feather in the cap for the Patriots. They've been a really good team, and they're a team that I don't want to say is overlooked this season, because even though Clovis West was the number 1 seed, out of the top 5 teams in Division I, we didn't know which team was going to come out on top, and we still don't know. And look at it this way. You've got a 2 versus 3 matchup in the section championship game. Number 1 is out.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us here, and good luck the rest of the year. I know you've got a lot of championship games that you'll be following as well.
Well, still ahead here on FFX. It's the biggest league in Kern County, and now 2 of its teams are playing for a Valley title. We're going to go in depth looking at Shafter and RFK after the break.
FFX is proud to be fitted by Finos. When it comes to quality men's suits in Bakersfield, Finos menswear and tuxedo is all you need. Huddle up. It's time for Coach's Corner with Renegade head football coach R. Todd Littlejohn.
Oh, it's Kern County's favorite segment, Coach's Corner. Now, Coach Littlejohn, we have another coach joining us. Coach, Mario Mian, head coach of the Kennedy Thunderbirds. Now, Coach, thank you so much. Congratulations on appearing in yet another section championship game. One of the things that really struck me that you said after your victory on the Central Coast this week is you're excited to practice on Thanksgiving. Yeah. Why is it so important for you guys to be playing at this time of the year and to have that annual practice?
Yeah, you know, every year when we start off, we try not to mention it too much, but we do talk about practice on Thanksgiving, right? When you start talking about timelines and goals, we get to a point where we start thinking, okay, well, if we can get to a point where we're playing or practicing Thanksgiving, we're either in the semis or we're in the finals, right? And so when you look at the long-term reaching goal, we don't talk about winning a championship, but we would talk about having the opportunity to be there, right? So Thanksgiving, you know, is a time of giving thanks and families, and we want to make it a big event and a big party for our kids on that day. So we'll throw it in every now and then. We'll talk about it in January and February, where if we're still doing this in Thanksgiving, then things are going well for us.
Can you pinpoint a time in the season that you saw, you know, and your coaching staff saw the turnaround, obviously, that led to this point?
Absolutely. It was the loss against Highland. We played Highland that week, and we were just off as a group. We have kids that have been playing together for, 6, 7, 8 years, and they're very comfortable with each other. And going into that game, it was a rough week of practice, and we get to that game, and we're just not ready to play football. And looking at the kids we had on our team, in our program, we should have never had a game like that. So going into that and, you know, getting beat up by Highland was really the turning point for our group. I think that at that moment they realized that, okay, we're not just going to walk out there and play, right? We got to do what we got to do. And so from that day, we've been winning since then.
What would the feeling be like if you could add a section title to that?
I remember them as 8th graders. When they were 8th graders is when we last won our section in 18. And I remember we did this little kind of going out to visit some of the schools and talking to them about what we accomplished. And I remember a lot of their faces back then. And I remember them saying, when I get there, I'm going to win a ring. I want to win a ring like these guys. And so here they are as seniors, and they have this opportunity in front of them to do this. And so, you know, we're excited about it, and it feels like these kids they're not going to rest until they pull this off, right? And so hopefully we'll be able to play well Friday to do that. But for them, for their legacy, and as we talk about coming through the programs like Kennedy, is having a legacy. What are you going to be known for? And initially the conversation was the one thing we've never done is win a league title. And so now that's happened, and we thought, okay, well, how much further are we going to go with this, right? And so for them, that's definitely where they want to hang their legacy.
All right, Coach, thank you so much. Now, you're not the only SSL coach that is playing on Friday, so we are going to send it over to Chris, who is joined now by head coach Gerald Perucci.
Coach, you guys, of course, that 8-9 matchup was at home, and then you guys rolled off a lot of road victories. So what's it been like being on the road so far in the playoffs?
You know, it's something I think our kids are kind of used to. You know, we were on the road for 3 straight years, so we played 20 straight home games during our time that our stadium was being rebuilt. So our kids know what it's like to be on the bus. They understand the process of packing your stuff before you go and mentally getting ready while you're traveling up there. But you know, going up to 2 really hostile environments against the number 1 seed and then against the number 5 seed, it was a lot of fun, and the kids just continue to figure out a way to get it done.
What is the key to success in those close games? I mean, you're back-to-back 1-point victories, right?
I wish I could say it was a bunch of really high-end execution and everything else, and that's the funny thing about our team. You know, we've had 5 1-point games this year. And so, you know, we've lost 2 and won 3, and the kids, I think it's a testament to them. You know, we're a young team, so sometimes you often wonder, is there ever going to be a time where they figure that what they're doing shouldn't be doing what they're doing with how they're doing it, but they just continue to figure out a way. I mean, I think it just comes out they're very much together. They like each other. They hang out with each other. I mean, I've coached teams where the guys didn't really want to be together. These guys legitimately go and hang out, and I think whenever you have that camaraderie and just a belief in each other, it's something. Sometimes just the stars align, and we've had the stars align quite a few times this year.
All right, Coach Gerald Perucci, thank you so much for joining us. Shafter Generals headed to the Valley title game. Taylor, back to you.
Who's your FFX Player of the Week? We're handing out some hardware after the break.
Your FFX Player of the Week is presented by Vertical Raise, the premier online fundraising platform.
Well, of course, our player of the week had to come from the rematch of the year. He's Cole O'Brien, quarterback of the Liberty Patriots, leading his team to victory and leading his team to a Central Section championship game. Cole, how did it feel to take down Buchanan after everything that happened earlier this year?
It felt great. You know, all that built up motivation from obviously the game being canceled, from Lightning, feeling like we could have came back and had a chance to win it at the end, but definitely some extra motivation.
What were some of the things behind the scenes, you know, aside from the coaches, what were some of the things that were being said amongst the players about this game?
Well, like I said, just extra motivation, and from, you know, all the past years of the rivalry with Buchanan, just we have it circled on our schedule every year.
You were all over the place in this game, in the air, on the ground. You certainly did your part, and we're going to put up your stat line here so everybody can see how great you were in this game. But as we're looking forward to Memorial, what do you have to do to beat the Panthers and defend this title for Liberty?
I think if we just play our game and stay true to ourselves, just line up right, Coach preaches assignment, alignment, and intensity every week. I think if we just play our game, we'll get the job done.
You're playing the day after Thanksgiving. Does that make you extra thankful?
Well, for sure. Every year, Liberty always expects to be practicing on Thanksgiving and just be in that Valley game. It's special.
All right, Cole, thank you so much. That is our semifinal player of the week. He led his team to victory. Now they're looking to defend their title on Friday against Memorial, and that's going to do it for this special semifinal edition of FFX. For more high school football coverage, just head to kgt.com and click on that FFX icon. Oh man, it's going to be a good one. We've got 3 teams with a chance to win a Valley title.